Oh, hell yeah. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Gnome Tomebaht. My name is Boogie, and on this podcast, I want to talk about real life shit. I get that's a really broad brush to paint with, but that gives me free reign to talk about whatever I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to do with this podcast is I want to use this platform as a way for me to tell my stories and have people come on to tell their stories so we can talk about it, dive deep into the conversations and figure out what the lessons we were supposed to learn from our trials and tribulations and ups and downs. Because a lot of times when you go through those things, you don't really learn the lesson right away until you look at it retrospectively. So that's kind of what I want to do with this. I mean, I also want to just talk shit and have fun. So there's that. So, okay. What it is life shit and the lessons learned. Anyways, before we get started, I want to let you guys know if you have any questions about the podcast in general, anything specific to an episode, or if you have feedback you want to give, or if you have any suggestions for topics you want me to talk about, there's a couple different ways to reach out. Definitely Instagram and Twitter. It's the same handle, Gnome Tomebaht. You can go to gnometomebaht.com, click on the contact link. There is a form you can fill out. You can enter your name, email address, and a message, or you can hit me up on the hotbox. Now, the hotbox is the hotline voice mailbox, which is a way for you guys to call the number and leave me a voicemail. And later on in the episodes, I'll pick some and play them and talk about them. That number is 210-369-8720. Once again, that's 210-369-8720. Now, in this episode, I want to tell you guys a story from my childhood, just to give you guys a better idea of who I am, what I'm about, where I came from, and just how ridiculous I've been my whole life. In the second part of the episode, it's going to be broken up into different segments. The first of which is the Small Biz Love, which is a segment where I shout out small businesses that either I love or ones that have been submitted. I'm a big proponent for supporting small businesses. The next segment is going to be about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and how they relate to our lives, which will be followed by the Hot Box. So let's get right into it. We are currently in the month of May. It's about to end. In the beginning of May, we had Cinco de Mayo, which, funny enough, here gets celebrated like erroneously. For some reason, people celebrate Cinco de Mayo and think it's like Mexican Independence Day. It's not. It's actually to commemorate the Battle of Puebla when the Mexican army defeated the French Empire in 1862. A little different from Mexican Independence Day. Anyway, after that, we had Mother's Day. So a big shout out and lots of support and love to all the moms out there doing the best they can. And also a lot of love and support to those who have a hard time with Mother's Day because of some real life shit. And today is Memorial Day, May 27th, where we honor the men and women who lost their lives serving the U.S. Armed Forces. And the month of May is also Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, which is exactly what your boy is. I was born in the Asian Pacific Islands of the Philippines, and I am an American. So just a little background here. I was born in the Philippines on Clark Air Force Base. My mom was in the U.S. Air Force. My father was a civilian. But because of a technicality, even though I was born on an Air Force base, I had to take Filipino citizenship. But last year in December, I got my U.S. citizenship. So Asian Pacific American, this guy. So while there's still time, let us all celebrate. All right, let's get into the story. So the year was 1991. I was 10 years old in fifth grade. Now, in fifth grade, for some reason, during this time in this area, fifth grade was the beginning of middle school. And to make things even weirder, the middle school I went to was on the same campus as the high school. So you could be hanging out with your 10-year-old friends and then bump into somebody who was like 16, 17, maybe even 18. So we had like the full spectrum of puberty going on. You had like the kids who were like overly hairy. They had a little too much body hair. You had the kids with like layers and layers of cystic acne. And then you had, you know, the kids who just really smelled real bad. Like, wow, somebody give that kid some Dracar Noir because he smells like he ain't showered for about 15 days. back to the story. So, during this time in fifth grade, I was, obsessed with the things that typical fifth graders might be obsessed with, like, I don't know, werewolves and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I was also obsessed with MC Hammer. Yeah, I'm talking, I was obsessed from, the haircut. I had the lines on the side of my head to the style of dress. I used to wear like them silk MC Hammer joints where they were big, baggy, and flowy up top and it tapered down to your feet. Um, but mostly I was obsessed with dancing like MC Hammer. Now you got to remember, this is 1991. We're coming from the tail end of the 80s with, breakdance culture, but for some reason where I was at that time and place, we weren't breakdancing. We were like MC Hammer style dancing. I don't know what kind of dancing that is, but that's what we were all about, man. It was interesting. So another weird thing about my middle school is that it seemed as though there was always like a school sanctioned dance going on. Oh, okay. The reason why I think there were so many because there was only two middle schools on the base, and if we weren't having a dance, the other middle school was having a dance, and vice versa. And we used to go to each other's dances because at the end of each dance there was always a dance battle. And I get how crazy that sounds, but these things really happened, and essentially what they were about were um either crews against crews or dancer against dancer. They would go at it round for round, and at the end of it all the crowd would choose who they thought the winner was by the amount of noise they would make. And that was something that happened on a regular basis when I was in fifth grade. Now, even though I was obsessed with dancing, I actually never really danced at these dances. I was just I wasn't confident enough to go out and bust the moves out. I would just go with my two best friends and have a good time. So my two best friends were a guy named Jeffrey, and unfortunately, I don't remember the other guy's name. And I know that makes me sound like the worst best friend in the world, but I don't know what to say. The kid's name was like either Bradley or James, and his last name was either Miller or Martin. So I'm just gonna call him Bradley James Miller Martin. So those were my two best friends. And during this time, I was also in love with a girl named Dana. Now Dana was mesmerizing. Man, she had shiny, shimmering, almost platinum blonde hair, these piercing blue eyes that just shot love spears deep into my soul. Man, I was in love with this girl, but unfortunately, the feelings were not reciprocated, but it was what it was. Now, another character in this story was the middle school bully. This guy, I don't remember his name either. We're just going to call him Joshua. So this dude, Joshua, was not only the middle school bully, but he was also known as the best dancer in the middle school. And he had a little crew, his little band of assholes. And they were also like the popular kids, the cool kids. So anybody who was anybody was kind of in this little clique, and they used to just be assholes to everybody. So like I said, my friends and I would go to the dances and we would have our own little fun. I was mostly like just a spectator checking out everybody and being like, oh, he's a good dancer. Oh, she's a good dancer. Oh, that guy sucks. Oh, that guy's pretty good. But I never went out. I never danced until one night when my best friends, old Jeffrey and old Bradley James Miller Martin, pushed me to go out on the dance floor. And I was like, no, 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 no. But it was just the right time, the right place, the right MC Hammer song. The stars aligned. They pushed me out there and I just let go. I let loose, and it was like the most freeing feeling ever. I had such a good time. The whole vibe was just electric. I had an amazing time that night. I felt like the most free I've ever felt, you know, for a 10-year-old. So the night went on. We had fun. But the entire time I was nervous because I was like, I hope nobody thinks I'm going to participate in this dance battle because that's not my thing, man. I'm not into that. But the universe had other plans. Essentially, I got thrown into a dance battle with freaking Joshua, the middle school bully who was known to be the best dancer in our middle school. And I couldn't back down because the dude was just so disrespectful. So I was like, I felt like I had to, which was really weird. But, we went at it. We're out for blood. Hypothetically speaking, in terms of, dance, blood. It was intense to say the least, man. We went at it. We were at each other's throats. And at the end of the night, unexpectedly, the crowd chose me. Now, I don't know if they chose me because I was the better dancer or they were just tired of his shit. But either way, your boy came out victorious. And it was the most incredible feeling I had ever felt up until that point in my life. I was like, wow, like these people like me. And it was a lot to take in. So the weekend passes and Monday morning rolls around and I'm heading to my first period class. And there he is standing in front of the doorway. Oh, Joshua. And I was like, man, what is this guy going to say? What is this guy going to do? Is this dude and his little band of assholes going to jump me? Like, what's going to happen? So I walked up to him and I was like, what's up, Joshua? And he comes up to me, just blank face, no emotion. And then he gives me dap. And he says, I didn't know you had it in you like that, man. And just like that, we became unlikely friends, unexpected friends. Like, I did not know what was going on. I didn't understand it. I didn't know if I was getting pranked, but he essentially just became friends with me and welcomed me into his little crew. It was really, really weird. Like, all those dudes who were an asshole to me the week prior, all of a sudden were my buddies. It was really kind of surreal. I didn't know what was going on. But because of that, I was now in the midst of the popular kids, and which was really, really strange to me because I pretty much just kept to myself and my two best friends. And to make things even crazier, later on that day, during a break in class, while I was hanging outside talking to my new friends, I got a tap on my shoulder. I turn around and it's Dana. And Dana looks me straight in the eyes and says, so I was wondering if you would be interested in going steady with me. And my brain lit on fire. I did not know how to process that. I was like, oh my God, she just asked me to be her boyfriend. I am freaking out. Oh my God, Dana likes me. What's going on? So I had to play it cool though. So I was like, I'm gonna have to think about it. Be right back. And I did the cheesiest thing I could possibly do. I did a little dance move spin because I was a dancer now. And then I stopped. I looked her in the eye and I said, the answer's yes. And just like that, the love of my life was my girlfriend. Wow. It was a lot to take in for a 10-year-old. I'll tell you that much. So the school year went on. I went to the different dances. I had fun. I hung out with my friends. The only thing was there was kind of a rift because just because I was accepted by the cool kids, my two best friends weren't, because they were just scrubs to these dudes. And it was kind of it caused a lot of static within our friendship. The one who kind of took it the worst was old Bradley James Miller Martin. He just didn't like the fact that I kind of chose to be with the popular kids more than them. I mean, we hung out still, but it had to be kind of separated. Like, I would have to hang out with them separately from hanging out with the popular kids. And he just thought it was like a betrayal. And I was like, no, man, it's not. And I tried to defend them, but it was really tough for like a 10-year-old who was previously known as like a nerd or a dork or a scrub to be accepted by the group of like cool kids. So there was like tension between me and my best friend, whose name I can't really remember. So our lives went on until it was the last dance of the school year. I show up to the dance with the crew, my girlfriend, my two best friends are there, and I'm just having a good time. But old Bradley James Miller Martin was not having a good time. But I didn't want to let his bad mood ruin my night. So I spent more time with the popular kids and just, went back and forth. So as the night went on, we had our fun. And then towards the end, it was time for the dance battle. And that night, it seemed like nobody was really interested in doing that. And I was totally fine with that because it was the last night of the year. I just wanted to have fun with my friends. And then I hear a voice yell out, "I want to battle." I turn around, and so Bradley James Miller Martin, looking pissed. And I was like, "Hey man, I don't want to battle you." He was like, "But I want to battle you. And it's going down tonight. You're going down." And I was like, "Look, I don't know if you want that." Because by that time I had gotten cocky. And he was like, "Oh no, it's going down. You're going down." And I was like, "All right, man." So we battled. And the thing is, old Bradley James Miller Martin was a good dancer. He had the moves down. So it was a tough battle. We went at it round for round, pound for pound, at each other's throats, just going at it. It was really tough to battle my best friend. But, I couldn't back down. I was holding the title belt. But we did our thing, and it was grueling, to say the least. By the end of it all, we were exhausted, and there wasn't a clear winner just yet. Until this moment. Old Bradley James Miller Martin got on the floor, did a little floor work, led right into an old school knee spin, and then he pops up, arches his back, goes on the floor, and does the worm. Now that might not mean anything to you, but the worm was the one dance move that I could not do. I couldn't pull it off. I just didn't understand the mechanics of it. I know that sounds crazy, but the thing is, he knew that. Old Bradley James Miller Martin knew that the worm was my weakness. And he dragged on this entire battle just to get to the very end, to bust it out, to essentially humiliate me in front of everybody. But I wasn't going to let him do that. So I got down, did a little floor work, led right into an old school knee spin. Then I popped up, arched my back, jumped down, tried to catch myself and gain some momentum. And then I just flopped. And then I tried it again and I flopped again. And then I tried it again and then I flopped again. The crowd was silent. And all of a sudden, old Bradley James walks up, crosses his arms, looks at me, throws his arms in the air, and everybody starts cheering. And there I was on the floor, just devastated. I didn't know how to take in the fact that my best friend just beat me at something that I love to do. And then from the corner of my eye, I see Dana run straight up to him, give him a kiss on the cheek, walk up to me, and she tells me, "I don't think it's going to work out between us anymore." My heart sank and broke into a million pieces. Not only did my best friend just humiliate me in front of all the people who once thought I was the best dancer at the middle school, but he also just won the heart of the love of my life. I was a man, broken, in shambles. It was a lot to take in for a 10-year-old. And what happened shortly after this night? A volcano in the Philippines called Mount Pinatubo erupts, causing the second largest terrestrial eruption in the 20th century. And to make things worse, at the same time, a typhoon hit. So the volcano didn't spew out any lava, but instead it expelled just these humongous clouds of volcanic ash. So much so that if you were to step outside, you'd be covered in like 5 seconds. We had to wear either gas masks or cover our faces with like a damp bandana just to be outside. And when the typhoon hit, it just mixed rain and all kinds of just destruction. It was so bad that the military mandated everybody on base to evacuate to another base, where they crammed everybody into a high school gym, and there were just thousands and thousands of cots, and you just had to wait in your section to be called, and they would just pack you into a cargo jet and then ship you off to the United States. It definitely was a hell of an experience. So those are the things that led up to me actually coming to the United States for the very last time, and I've been here ever since. So, in retrospect, I guess the lesson learned from this would be to be present in the lives of those you care about and the lives of those who care about you, and to realize the world doesn't revolve around you. And in the best of times, don't forget who's really important, because one day they just might get tired of feeling like they've been put on the back burner for too long and just snap and challenge you to a dance battle, only to humble you in front of a crowd of people whose approval you longed for, even though they didn't really even know you. And the love of your life just might leave you, and you'll be there, devastated, in a pile of ashes. And then a volcano might erupt and eviscerate your homeland and force you to flee to another country to call your new home. And that, my friends, is some real life shit. And on that note, I'll be right back. Welcome back, guys, and welcome to Small Biz Love, the segment of the show where I shout out small businesses that I love or ones that have been submitted by you guys. The first one comes from my friend Elizabeth, known as Out of Ketosis on Instagram, and the small business that she wants to shine a light on is Lavender Hill Florals. They offer concierge floral services. You can find them on Instagram at Lavender Hill Florals or lavenderhillflorals.com. They're located on 359 Spring Street in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Next up is my personal favorite place to get meat here in San Antonio. If you are of the carnivorous or omnivorous persuasion, this is your place, man. Viatrix Meat Market. That's WIATREK' Meat Market. You can find them on Instagram at Viatrix Meat Market or on viatrixmeatmarket.com. They're located on 8517 Blanco Road. Now, these guys are fairly new to San Antonio. They have an older location, the original location in Poth, Texas, and they opened up the San Antonio location sometime last year. When it comes to quality of meat and quality of service, this place is hands down the best around. As soon as you walk in, you're greeted and you feel at home. And once you walk in, you see like the case they have right up front, and it's just organized, it's neat, it's clean. On one side, they have all of like the fresh cut stuff, and another side, they have all of the aged stuff. They have some higher end stuff like akaushi beef. They have not just beef, they have pork, they have chicken, sausage that they make in-house. And this place has the best bacon I've ever had in my entire life. And I love thick cut, and that's what they have. And it's just incredible. They have a freezer section. They have a section for spices. Anything you could think of that you need for, meats, you got to check out Viatrix. I believe Nate, the manager, told me that the majority of their beef comes from Texas, and they are, I think he said, grass-fed, grain-finished. Don't quote me on that, but you might want to holler at them. Either way, my favorite place, hands down. And because I went the meat route, I do want to give a shout out to, my plant-based homies out there. My friend Elle wanted me to shout out Viva Vegeria. I think that's how you pronounce it. I do know people in town call it Vegeria, and I think that's not correct, but I don't know. They say that they are San Antonio's first 100% vegan and gluten-free Tex-Mex restaurant. You can find them on Instagram at Viva Vegeria SA, VIVAVEGERIASA. They are on 1422 Nogalito Street. And folks, that is going to wrap it up for Small Biz Love as we head right into the next segment, Turtle Talk. Yeah. This is about them Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, the reason why I want to do a segment about the Ninja Turtles is because when I lived in Austin a few years ago, I went to a job interview and the manager interviewing me asked me, he said, out of the 4 Ninja Turtles, which one of them describes you the best? And I was like, is this dude for real? Just because of this question, I want to work here for show. And it was, it blew my mind that was even a question in an interview. Because, you get the typical, one of your strengths, one of your weaknesses, blah, 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 blah. Tell me a story of how you got mad, or I don't know, crap like that. So I was pretty stoked that he asked that question, but also I wasn't prepared for it. So I had to think about it for a second. I was like, give me a second. He's like, take your time. And I was like, I don't think I can just pick one. He's like, okay, well, if you could do 2, who would they be? And I said, it would definitely be Michelangelo and Raphael. He's like, oh, wow. Why? Michelangelo, because I like to have fun. I try to be as positive as possible and see things in a positive light as much as I can. But on the other hand, Raphael, because a lot of times I can be really kind of introspective and I feel like the whole world is on my shoulders and I'm the only one who can hold it up to keep things together. And I can get really moody. So I'm like 2 sides of the coin there. And he was like, wow, okay. Interesting answer. And what I want to do is if anybody comes on this show, I want to ask them that same question. And hopefully, everybody who comes on the show has watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And if they haven't, I'll kick them out. Just kidding. I won't do that. But that's what this segment is going to be. All right, moving on. The next segment is the Hot Box. Like I said before, the Hot Box is a phone line you can call and leave me a voicemail message. And I'm going to play some messages tonight. I only have one. And I'm going to play it for you guys and we'll just talk about it. So let's get to it right now.
Hi, my name is Linda from Flushing, Queens, New York.
Hi, Linda.
There's not really a topic I want you to talk about.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say thank you because I feel like people don't talk about gnomes enough.
Okay.
And I'm so happy that you opened up this avenue to talk about gnomes.
Absolutely.
And gnomes' rights. And just, gnomes need to be talked about more and just gnome issues.
Okay.
So thank you so much for
You're
being
welcome.
a gnome activist. All of us are so thankful for your work.
All of y'all.
Not that I'm a gnome.
I didn't think you were.
But I might be.
Oh, okay.
And if I were, I'd be so happy about this talk show. If this talk show isn't about gnomes, and by talk show I mean podcast, I'm going to be really disappointed. And I'm going to report you.
Report me.
To all of the gnome profit-free organizations that I know and might be the president of.
Wow.
So watch your back.
Wow.
Watch your back. And watch for all gnomes' backs. Because gnomes have rights too. Just like you.
All right then. Thank you, Linda from Flushing, Queens, New York. I appreciate the message. I appreciate your passion for gnomes. I do want to say that the show is not specifically only about gnomes, but just so that you don't report me to anybody, I will take a little time right now and read some facts about gnomes. Hopefully that will be good enough for you not to report me to anybody. I don't want, a gang of gnomes coming for me. So here we go. Coming straight from Wikipedia. Gnome, mythical creature. A gnome is a diminutive spirit in Renaissance magic and alchemy, first introduced by Paracelsus in the 16th century and later adopted by more recent authors, including those of modern fantasy literature. Abilities: moves through solid earth. Wow. Mythological origin: Europe. And that was my section called The More You Gnome, just for you, Linda. Thank you for the call. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. But before I go, I do want to give a couple shout outs to some very important people. Number one, Brady Boop. Brady Boop is the artist responsible for the artwork for the Gnome Tomebaht podcast. He is an incredible portrait artist, comic artist, illustrator, game designer. He's out of Houston, Texas. I've known him for quite a while. The dude is incredible. You can find him on Instagram, on Twitter. The handle is at Brady Boop. That's BrettyBoop. That's 3 O's. You can find him on Facebook at Brady Boop Draws Stuff. He's got some really awesome comic strips. One about his dog, one about like the trials and tribulations of being a barista. Check him out for sure. Next is my cousin Cool Kojak. He is an incredible producer, musician, all the above, artist in general. He's out in California. He has allowed me to use some of his music for the intro and the outro for the show. Dude is awesome. He's worked with the likes of like Kesha, Flo Rida, Britney Spears, Travis Barker, Dirt Nasty, Warren G, Andy Milonakis. The list goes on. He's worked on the Lorax soundtrack as well as Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Next up is my homeboy from South Carolina, Bones Hamilton. He's responsible for the interlude music. This cat is an incredible musician, incredible artist. I've known him for quite some time now. And back in the day, like several years ago, he used to just blow my mind because he used to record full songs on his phone. Like he had, I don't know what apps he used, but he used to just record everything on his phone. And he used to like just blow my mind because I used to have like a small home studio and I had all this equipment, all this software, all this hardware. And this dude was able to just pull off some really great songs all from his phone. And it just was so impressive to me. And I believe he's upgraded since. He's got some hardware and stuff that he's working with now, but still, the guy's incredible. You can find his music pretty much anywhere where music is available. Spotify, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Apple Music, all of that. Just look for Bones Hamilton. On Instagram, I believe his handle is bones.hamilton. And on Twitter, it's just Bones Hamilton, one word. So big shout out to those three. Thank you so much for your support and love. And thank you to everybody who's listened or watched this on YouTube. This is my first go around at doing anything like this. I've never done a podcast type thing before. I'm really, really new to it. So take it easy on me, maybe. I'm still brand new. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, pretty much, but hopefully you guys stick around, and I really appreciate that if you've gotten this far. I've got some friends lined up to be coming to the show. I think they just have really awesome stories that I just want to get into and talk about and talk shit, have fun, do the damn thing. So once again, thank you for listening, and I'm gonna talk to y'all a little bit later on.